I just got the windows tinted, 20% tints, and they're ceramic. So it's gonna stop the heat really well. It looks so good now. Holy. We got 80% on the windshield too. Not too dark, just so it'll stop the heat. It looks kind of like a mirror, which is pretty fire. This car looks absolutely insane now. This just, I can't get over this. I haven't been able to stop looking at this car since it got done. So I just went out for a drive in this. I ripped it, and right after we finished, it had a pretty good vibration. When I was in gear, I put it in neutral and it had no vibration. And now, okay, yeah, I'm not doing that again. That's the third time doing that. There's something wrong in the transmission. I put it in first with the clutch all the way in, and it grinded really bad. So the transmission definitely has to come out. My guy Dylan Roy came for the rescue. I appreciate him so much. We're gonna try and see how this goes. The car is super low, so we'll see. That winch is putting in work. We got it on. We got it on with a shit ton of wood. My exhaust is so low. Let me show you how low the exhaust is. That resonator and that hanger right there, we're all getting caught on there. So car's on the trailer now. At least it looks good with these tints on it. So we're home now. Now the fun part, I'm gonna just completely take the exhaust off. So I timed it and got the full exhaust out with just those two V-bands that holds it in 4 minutes and like 40 seconds. So it's a pretty easy exhaust to get off. But now the car is in here. It looks so good, by the way. Like, I can't stop looking at how good it looks with the tints. But honestly, I've never been more demotivated to want to work on this car before. Like, I just finished putting in like over 100 hours doing the chassis harness and everything in it, probably like a week and a half ago. I don't even remember. Probably like a week and a half ago that I finished that. And now I have to fully take the transmission out. And I think what happened was the pressure plate could have exploded. The same thing happened before, because the spec stage 3 plus clutch that I have right now is rated for 490 foot-pounds of torque to the flywheel. And I made that to the wheels. So this clutch is out of its range. It's past its limit. So I'm guessing once that little spring breaks off, it gets caught up on the transmission, and then once it gets dug on there, it's kind of where the starter just sounds like it's just not good. I'm hoping it's that, and I'm hoping it's not the flywheel bolts that came out and chewed my crank, because if the crank is destroyed in this, I have to take the whole engine out. So I'm just gonna start by taking the intake manifold off. Kind of where I start is, it's pretty annoying because my throttle cable right down there is under the master. So I have to take the full throttle cable out for it to be able to come out. So I'm just going to take this boot off, take the throttle body out, and leave that cable connected still. And then I'm going to take the intake manifold, take it out, take the starter out, and then from there, because the starter has to come out anyways for me to take the transmission out. So this is the first step of doing all of that. For my setup, this is definitely the way. This is the first time me taking the throttle body off instead of trying to wiggle it all around. This is so much more room now. Like, this is the problem. The throttle cable goes through there and it's like entangled in there, and it's so hard to get it back in there. Like, fighting with that throttle cable with that angle is a nightmare. So every time you're working on a car, don't try and, you know, take the short way. Just, I want to take as least off as possible. No, just take everything apart. That's going to make the process go easier and smoother, and you're not going to hate yourself for that, because I remember before, fighting that cable made me hate myself. So now just pop all the injector wiring out, feed it through here. I don't know why mine feeds through there, but then it's basically free game to pull the manifold out. Using a magnet, because losing one of those is really annoying. Gotta use a magnet for all this. All I need is enough room to get that starter out. I got the bottom starter bolt out, so now, oh my god. Oh my god, I just dropped it. So, a piece of my starter exploded. So this starter is fried. So that's the metal that I heard falling down. Once again, everything under this car is soaked in oil. It's ridiculous. The oil leak is still bad. This heat shield's gotta go so I can drop the drive shaft. Like 2 minutes later, it's down. I can take it out of gear from down here with just this rod up here. Now I'm just gonna undo these two. When it rotates, hopefully the other one is more visible. Front and rear bolts are out, so now. Okay, that's one way. That thing is out of the way now. Now this shifter could get disconnected right there, and these two mounts for the transmission can get disconnected. Slave is out now. Shifter is disconnected. Transmission's lowered. Now I just have to unbolt the bell housing and pull it off. I'm definitely gonna set up the camera so you guys can see how I take this out alone, because it's interesting. All I need to reach the side one is just one extension, and it's loose now. I just got the top transmission bolts out. I didn't have it. Fucking God, the backlight. I didn't have one more extension, so I had to use a swivel to reach that angle. If I had enough extensions, I could just put a ratchet right here and twist it off, but gotta do with what you got. So I'm seeing what you guys can see right now. This jack stand is really close, and this other jack stand's on the frame rail right here, and it's really close, so I have no room. I've tried removing it with a jack before, and it's an actual nightmare. So last time I did it, I just kind of manhandled it, and I prefer to do that a lot more. Hopefully this dump tube doesn't get in the way. Actually, I'm gonna just take it out. All right, I got it out the way. Now I can try and take this trans out. In August, my pressure plate, this little plate that breaks whenever it's like too much force is on it, and it was riding up and grinding on the inside of the bell housing. And I have a feeling like that could be the thing that happened. Like that. Yep, I can see it. The pressure plate exploded. Oh God. Oh, it's stuck on my zipper. Oh, it actually rubbed through my transmission and it caught on the starter. Oh my God, my belt is stuck on the fucking... Oh, there we go. All right, it's not on me anymore. It's on the creeper. The drain was stuck on the creeper. Fall, but don't fall too hard. Oh, there we go. Oh. Oh my God, this thing is so oily. Holy shit. Oh. Yep, exactly what happened last time. Oh my God. I need to do cardio, y'all. I should not be that tired after. I'll be back after a short little break. That little spring that holds the pressure plate to get, I don't even know what that spring does. Apparently it's meant to break away when there's too much load. It broke again. So this happened in August. I sent the pressure plate out and they sent me a new, or they fixed it and sent me it back. But now I'm just gonna upgrade the clutch and get a better one. Obviously this clutch can't hold it. This is a spec stage 3 plus, and I actually really like this clutch. It feels really good. It's really easy to daily drive, and it's not as bad as you would expect a clutch of this caliber to be to drive. And the damage in the transmission, this is all just from the starter that exploded, and it was rubbing around. Same thing happened back then. And this time it must have been a bigger piece that came off, and it grabbed up on the starter and ripped the whole housing off of the starter. And there's even a hole in the bell housing now. I'm gonna leave it just like that though, because people have open holes on the side of their transmission all the time. So just gonna order up a new clutch. My valve cover gasket was leaking super bad out of the 6th spark plug hole, and oil was like getting pushed out even just as I drove, and especially when I hit boost, it would smoke because it was hitting on the exhaust, and you can see it's dripping right there. So I'm hoping that all this oil that's down here and coating literally everything under the car is from that, because I don't think the rear main is leaking. It looks pretty good right now, but I'm gonna change it anyways because I'm already here. And everything up there is soaked. So I'm hoping that that's what that was, because I really don't want this car to leak anymore. I've never changed the rear main with oil still in the engine, and I can't find anything online about it, so I'm just gonna try it and hope that nothing comes out. The bolts are out and no oil's leaking yet, so I'm gonna pop it off now. So it came off with no, ow, with no oil coming out. So I don't know if this is actually a sign. This probably is a sign of a leaking rear main seal. It's dry on the top, and on the bottom there's oil there. So probably oil is getting passed through the bottom. Now I'm gonna just put the new seal in and use the old seal to tap it in, I think is the way. As a quick little note, my guy Mike Capoza, shout out to you. He told me to get this keyless entry right here because it's really easy to wire, and it actually is really easy. You just find the wiring for the trunk lock harness, then the green purple and the green black, splice the green wire from the module into the green black and the blue wire into the green purple, and then power and ground into the antenna power and ground, and that's it, and you have keyless entry into the E30. This is my favorite way of splicing into wires. Use wire strippers like this kind right into the middle of a wire, poke a hole into it with like a pick, and then just strip a whole lot of the wire that you're trying to splice into it off like this, and poke it through, and then wrap it around. So there's that hole there, and then I just poke this whole wire through there, and now I just wrap it around there. And then once it's wrapped around, squeeze together, and that's it. Put electrical tape on it and it's good. My car doesn't have the rear antenna, so I don't have a constant 12 volt from there, but the wiring that goes up to the trunk light up here actually has 12 volts constant, even with the key off. So I'm gonna splice that into there real quick, and that's gonna finish off this system. So that wire is spliced in, everything is in. That is sick. Oh, that's so cool. I love that. Here it is, guys. They didn't send me a tracking number, so I didn't know when this was coming. So it just appeared out of nowhere. Ooh, this is sick. I'm so excited. My first ever twin disc, as you guys saw in the title. Oh my God, this is a beautiful clutch. So my first impression is that this thing is so heavy. It is so heavy, but I really like that they include pilot bearing. I mean, they include everything that a clutch should include. All new bolts, even the Loctite and everything. So I'm going to read through all this and make sure I know everything. But this thing is beautiful. Like, wow, it's so nice. My old man here is super happy because he just got a new car. 2021 430i. And it's so bright, I can't even look at it in the sun. But the best part about it, it's a convertible. He likes his convertibles, is the interior. You want to open the top? Open the top real quick. This red doesn't come in these cars, and we got one that some guy special ordered, and somehow this dude got lucky enough to get this option. Normally they come in like a little bit of a brighter red, and it's like an orange. But this car looks hot. It looks so good with that interior. Look at how... Oh yeah, it looks so good. This interior is what makes this car. I love it. I normally don't like the big grills, but it's growing on me. It looks so good with that interior. I'm gonna drain the transmission now and get all the fluid out because I want to change the input shaft seal and the shifter seal. And I haven't changed this fluid in a while, so it's just good to do. Wow, that's making a mess. Yo, that's making a mess. There's no metal shavings in here. God damn. These 4 5 mil hex heads. Now this tube that the throwout bearing slides on and the fork slides on can come out. And that's the seal that I want to replace in there. We're going to take a little screw and drive it into the seal and hope for the best. Okay, so I didn't think it was actually going to work. I drove a screw into the seal. I vice gripped onto the screw. I put a big screwdriver through the vice grip handle. And then with the hammer, I was hitting on it like this. And it popped the seal off. So there's some oil in there. Some oil. What the hell? It's almost in all the way, actually. Here we go. I didn't use the old seal. The new one is in. Nothing is damaged. Looks good. The little shifter selector thing right here comes off with the little spring that goes around it. You pop that spring off and then push this dowel pin through. And it's supposed to have a sponge inside, so if it doesn't, replace it. And it's gonna make the shifter feel nicer. But now I'm gonna try and get this seal out right here. I came in with this tiny screwdriver and I hammered it in against the shifter shaft. And I'm hammering it sideways a little bit like this. Goes in a little bit. There we go. And pick that seal off and we're good. This new one can just come right in. Why am I not using a socket? Oh my God. 16 mil socket. There we go. That should be good. I just now realized that there's a little groove above where it is that you're only supposed to pull it off and put it into that groove and not actually take the whole ring all the way off, because it's really hard to put it back on. So don't take that ring all the way off. There we go. I'm gonna use some of this grease to grease up this shaft right here that the throwout bearing and fork ride on. Not too much. I just want to have a nice coating on it. Also on the splines. This can take a nice little glob on there. And then also on the throwout bearing. Inside where the slave goes, could take a nice little drop too. There we go. I got all the RTV cleaned off of the top of the oil pan, and I got the back of the block clean too. So I can put the new gasket in and slip the whole rear main seal back in. I'm gonna use some of Permatex The Right Stuff. People say that they love this. I use this for the oil pan and everything, and I don't know, maybe this is why I have oil leaks. I don't know, but I'm gonna put a thin layer on the bottom of this right here and just slip it on. So here we are, and The Right Stuff says to just tighten it to torque specs within 5 minutes of putting it on. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I just rushed to get everything torqued before that gasket sealed, and I made sure to put this plate on now, and I can go out of the car now and disassemble the clutch and clean everything and get the flywheel installed. Wow, this thing is so nice. I love this. So this is it all laid out. In the instructions it says to make sure that you have the flywheel that's marked right here lined up with the mark in the middle plate, because it's all balanced, and if it's not where that is, you're gonna have a crazy ass vibration. And that mark on that mid plate is right there, so this side has to go onto there, lining up. I'm guessing they do it at a little bit of an angle too, so you know which side is which, or like whether it's this way or this way. The pressure plate is also marked right there and right there, so this has to go lined up with that one and that one. As the instructions state right here, a few drops of Loctite 262 onto the crankshaft bolts. It's on the dowel now. Maybe that's enough. I'm putting a pretty good amount of that on there, mainly because I've never had a nut actually freeze from Loctite. I've never experienced what too much Loctite is like. The flywheel bolts call for 70 foot-pounds. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it without someone holding the front of the engine though. I'm using this pry bar between the flywheel to hold it still because I can't reach to the front of the engine. I got everything down here and I'm ready to clean this for the final time with some brake clean and start assembling everything. I got this cleaned up fully and now this mark has to line up with the top. I put it at a little bit of an angle. So like up here is a little bit higher than down here. Wait, what the hell? So now I have to, I've never installed a twin disc before. I have to take this out and then put it back in to get the second plate on. I guess I should have put it on as a whole unit. Yeah, I should have put it on as a whole unit. All right, there we go. So now this marked one has to go up to that top corner as well. I'm gonna thread a bolt in dry so that it doesn't fall. Actually, there's dowel pins. Yeah, I'm gonna put a bolt in dry so that it doesn't fall. I really don't want this to fall. I slowly tighten them all in crisscross star pattern, slowly suck the whole plate together, and now I can tighten it to 20 foot-pounds. We're good now. Everything's lined up and we're all good. It's ready to take the transmission. Here's just to show what all the markings are and how they're lined up. I'm gonna fill the transmission outside of the car with some of this. What the hell? It's clear? I was not expecting this color out of it. So just a little bit more clarification of what that crunching was at the beginning of the video. This piece of the starter got ripped off from the pressure plate, from that little metal that was sticking out, and it came around and scraped all in the inside and blew this hole in the side of the transmission. And when it blew that hole, it caught up on this, and that's what the crunching was. It wouldn't start is because this was destroyed and lodged in there and like not good. I got the new starter in right here, just gonna wire it up, and then that's the last thing that I needed to do to get the transmission in. A piece of wood under the timing chain tensioner, and I just wanna lift the front of the engine a little bit so that it changes the angle of where the transmission comes in. I'm dreading this so bad. This always sucks along, but gotta do what you gotta do. So now I just have to try and get this thing onto my chest. It's kind of the hard part. I just need to get it on my chest, that's it. That's literally it. That's all I need to do. Oh. Oh my God, this is a lot heavier than I remember it being. I can take a breather. I made sure that the transmission's in gear and use the gear on the back to align the teeth on the clutch with the input shaft, but now it needs like maybe ½ inch. I don't know if that's safe to just drive it home with a bolt, but all right, fuck this shit, bro. Honestly, I'm gonna fucking why did I have to put that bolt in dry? It blows my mind why I thought that was a good idea. Because now I have to go back in and apply the Loctite to that one bolt. Transmission's already in. I like to edit the video right before installing everything back together because I want to see how long the video is and how much of that I can include. And it's already pretty long, so I'm not going to include much, but I noticed right when I saw that, my heart dropped when I was editing. I was like, no, please no. And yes, it's real. I have to do this. I'm going to try and keep the transmission on my chest and just undo that one bolt, put Loctite on it, put it back on, and then just muscle it back on. I don't know how much movement I'm gonna have with that transmission on my chest though, so. Yep, I don't see anything on there. Oh my God. Let's go, I found the hole. It's always a good day when you find the hole. Ow! See, first plate, second plate. Oh! It went in like last night. Let's go. Holy shit. It went in so easily. So that's a 9-minute clip that I got it off and in 9 minutes. So basically, transmission bolts, put the slave in, bolt the transmission up, install the drive shaft, put the heat shield in, install the starter, put the intake manifold on, put the exhaust on, put the throttle body back on, and that is it. That's all that's left. I'm not going to record it because you guys saw me take it off, so there's really no point. I got it all back together. I realized that I didn't even need to undo the injector harness because I wasn't taking the manifold fully off, but the starter's in, everything is connected. Now the only thing left is the exhaust. So I'm going to just put that in and we'll go for a ride. I'm actually covered in oil. So I'm gonna try and start it now, and I don't want to sit in this seat. If it starts and the starter's good, then I'll go change and try and put it through the gears and put it on the floor and try and roll it and stuff. Right now, I'm just worried about the starter. Oh. That starter sounds a lot better than the M20 starter, I'll tell you that. Here comes the moment of truth. I'm gonna start it. The M52 starter sounds so much better. But now I'm gonna try and drive it out of the garage. Oh my God. I guess that just caught me off guard. It's not really that heavy, but it's definitely heavier than the Spec Stage 3 Plus. It's going. Hey. Oh, this is gonna be okay. There's also zero clutch chatter. My other clip, I do have a ridiculous amount of sound deadening in this car, but I don't hear any noise coming from. Okay. It says for the braking procedure, no long slips and just easy street driving. Yo, these ceramic tints are absolutely insane. The sun is beaming me right now and I don't feel anything. I don't feel any kind of heat from that sun beaming me. But how the clutch feels, it kind of has a feeling of like, it's kind of hard to push and then it like passes the spring point and then it just goes all the way down to the bottom. And it's like that, like two different pressures to go. My other clutch was just one consistent pressure all the way down. But this one, that's the only thing that I'm getting used to. This clutch has a midpoint that it just wants to shoot your foot off the clutch pedal, and that's like, you just have to modulate that. But it's like kind of heavy, but it's very, very easy. It's not on off at all. It is so easy to slip, it's so easy to daily drive, and like, I have no issues driving with this clutch. It's just getting used to this one after the other one is like the biggest thing. And for where it grabs along the travel, I have a lot of cushion under the clutch. So right now it's kind of like at the bottom, but I think it would be like midway. Like if you didn't have all that carpet and like the big cushion under it, it would be about halfway, which I like. I prefer for it to be higher up and not all the way at the bottom. I prefer it because when you're pushing the clutch in, when you're daily driving, if I just push the clutch in and let it out in one motion and it grabs at the top, that whole like, as it's going down, I could be shifting, and then once I'm in gear, I'm already at the point again. If it was all the way at the bottom, you would have to grab it, shift, and then start letting go, which is just, that's more annoying to me daily driving, because you have to hold it there and then come out instead of just a gradual, you know? But now it's just drive it for a lot of miles. Oh shit, that was Isaiah. I'm gonna fill up just so that I know. I want to make sure that I have a full tank so I can track how many miles. Okay, took 2 gallons. If
you don't want to get gas on your car, take it out at an angle like that and it will never get gas on it. There was an S14 back there and he was looking. Take off giving it no gas. You just, right when it starts grabbing, you let it go and hold it where it's grabbing. It loves it. This clutch is amazing, yo! And I can't wait to actually rip it because it's gonna hold all the power. It's not gonna slip at all. This is an amazing clutch. Yo, if you're trying to make horsepower with an M52, I 10 out of 10 recommend this clutch so far. This clutch is amazing to drive. I've been having so much fun driving this right now. I was scared that having a twin disc would make it so that I don't want to drive the car because it's a painful clutch, but it's not brutal at all. This clutch is beautiful. Pulled up to the cove just because, yo, those trees look amazing with that sun on it in the background. Oh, I gotta try and get it. I need to try and get that in time. You guys can see it too, not only from my camera, but yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a thumbs up, subscribe, stay tuned, because I'm gonna actually be driving it more now that it's actually drivable. Follow me on Instagram right here at E30 Joel if you want to stay tuned with everything that I'm doing real time. And yeah, I appreciate you guys so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this, because we're just getting started, baby.